Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be spending 100 days in RLCraft and seeing how well I do. For those of you who don't know what RLCraft is, it's just a mod pack where it's harder and it has dragon. So let's get started. Day 1, I started by looking around at my surroundings and breaking some leaves. I did this instead of breaking wood because you can't break wood in RLCraft with your fist. Then I learned that my camera was filming too zoomed in, so I fixed it. After that, I killed some turkey because I needed an early food source and they were a pretty easy thing to kill. I just kept on mining this gravel, but it took way too long to get flint, so I'm just going to speed up the video. Eventually, I got some flint and turned that into flint shards so I could make some good tools. Then, when crafting the tools, I remembered that they were actually really bad tools. Once I'd crafted my tools, I thought that everything was going perfectly until I got this weird glitch and I was just stuck here. The glitch was happening for a good 5 or 6 minutes, so I just kind of waited it out. When I was stuck in this glitch, I realized it would be a perfect time to both take notes for this video and to tell you guys that you should subscribe. Subscribing is free and it just really helps me create better content. But let's get back to the video. After being stuck in this glitch for a while, I really thought it was the end and I was just going to quit the game and make a new one, but then eventually I was able to get out. I cut down my first tree in RLCraft and I could finally make my first set of wooden tools. At this point, I was very excited that I had made it this far without dying, and then I spotted a skeleton, started running, and he killed me. Because of the crazy way RLCraft works, I spawned in a completely different place, and there was no way of getting my stuff back. To save you all some time, I'm just going to skip ahead to when I have all the stuff I had the first time. I'll see you then. Once I'd gotten about the same stuff back, I found this strange looking thing. I broke it, and when I was in the middle of breaking it, a zombie attacked me. But because I had stone tools, I wasn't just going to let him kill me, and I killed my first mob. Then I looked behind me, and there was lava. At this rate, I realized that if I spent the same amount of time editing each day, this video would be a few hours long, so sorry about this first day, but for the rest of the other days, they'll be a lot shorter. It was starting to get later on in the afternoon, and I'd finally found somewhere that I could set up camp for the night. There were some good materials in the camp, none of which I could use yet because I wasn't a high enough experience level, which also meant that I had to go kill mobs the next day in order to do that. Day 2, I started off the day by realizing that I was only 1% into this thing and that I probably wouldn't survive. Once I'd finished thinking about that, I realized I needed to smelt some food in order to keep myself from starving, and also that smelting food heats you up a little bit, which I didn't know before. I decided to leave my camp and go out exploring. My plan was to find a battle tower and get some good loot. Then I tried to mine some iron and realized that I couldn't mine it yet, so I just upgraded myself. And then I still couldn't mine it. Because of this, I went off to this small castle, knowing that it didn't have powerful mobs in it. I never thought that my biggest problem would be trying to get there. And I didn't see the bubbles in the water, so I died again. At this point, I died 2 times in 2 days, so I'm again just going to save you some time and get the stuff back. Day 3, I couldn't find my stuff, but I did get some new stuff. I stared at this griffin for a while because I didn't know if it was deadly or not, and then I went off to this broken battle tower. I don't know why, but I was so anxious to get into it that I didn't even prepare, and then, yeah, you can probably guess what happened. And again, I wasn't able to get my stuff because I was so far away. At this point, it was starting to get dark, and I was pretty sure I was just going to die again. I saw this weird rock structure because I thought it might have something in it, but it didn't, so I kept running past it. And to my surprise, there was a sand village across the water near it. I was very excited to go to this village, and I luckily did not die on the way there, knowing that it could happen. When I got to the village, I decided I would have to check and see if it had any good stuff before I spent the night there. There really wasn't anything good, just a little bit of wood to help me get wooden tools, and then I eventually ended up spending the night there. I also learned you can get hot in this game, which I had no knowledge of before playing this. And to explain that, I had never played RLCraft. This is actually my first time. Then on day 4, I ended up going back to the broken battle tower that I had originally died on. My stuff had despawned, so I decided I would start at the top and work my way down. Once I made it to the top, I decided I'd break the mob spawner to keep myself from getting killed. I got some heart dust, which wouldn't have any use to me until I got more. I didn't know why, but there wasn't a chest, which was very annoying. I was sort of just wandering around, and then I remembered that there were other floors, and the mobs were spawning in there this whole time. I thought I could take them on, but I couldn't. I was realizing at this point that if I died at the same rate for all 100 days, I would have 100 days and 100 deaths, so I kinda had to switch the way I was playing this game. I also realized that for some reason it's day later after the night. I don't know which event happened first, but these two events do happen pretty similarly. So then I went back to get my stuff still on day 4. I blocked up the entrance to where the zombies were, and after I got my stuff, I just sort of left. Or at least, that's what I should have done. I decided I would raid the whole tower, which I knew was a big mistake, but I just wanted to try it and see if I could get the stuff. There really wasn't any good stuff, which was really disappointing, and when I was on the ground level, which I also learned wasn't the bottom level, I died again. I really thought I wasn't going to die again, but just as I was jumping out, the zombie punched me, and this caused me to get in the corner, and he killed me. I then came back to the tower because I was determined to beat it this time, but when I was in there, I also realized that I probably wouldn't be able to beat it, so I just collected all my stuff, destroyed the mob spawner, and got out of there. Day 5, I crafted a bow, which I was really excited to use, but I think wasn't able to use it, so I just waited. Days 6 through 11, I clumped these days together because there wasn't much that happened because I mostly AFK'd, but what did happen is I found a new home for myself. I made sure to loot all the chests. I found not that much good stuff other than arrows. I also remembered this time that not just staying at the village would be important, I also had to sleep in a bed there, or else I would have a random respawn point like I had every time before. So that's exactly what I did. Surprisingly, I actually didn't die on these days, which was very different than the other 5. Day 12, I made my first full set of armor, which wasn't that good of armor, but it was the only armor I could wear, and everything counted in this game. I also used my bow for the first time, which was very fun, and I learned that it was like 3 times better than my sword. I found a real battle tower this time, not a ruined one. I made sure to kill these guys first. I don't know why I killed them. I could have just gone past them, but they looked weird, so I wanted them out of my home. Once I got to the top of the battle tower, I realized that there was a trick that I knew that if I pulled on the golem guy for quite some time with a fishing rod, he would eventually just shoot away when I shot him with the bow. This was very helpful because I knew I would have no way of killing him. I don't know why, but I decided it was too late to raid the tower. Day 14, I decided I would raid the tower. I got amazing stuff from the chest, and because there was both an enchanting book and enchanting potions, I would probably be able to use those diamonds pretty soon. When I got home, I opened this chest. I didn't intend on putting anything in it. It was just to waste time until I decided what I would make. Once I decided what I would make, I was very happy with what I decided. I made both a summoning staff and a diamond sword. What I made technically wasn't a diamond sword. It was a diamond saber. I'm just going to call it a diamond sword because I'm more used to that. Uh, I made this instead of a sword because it had slightly longer range and it did a little more damage. Day 15, I spent the entire day trying to get enough XP to use at least one of my new items that I'd made. I actually didn't succeed, which was very disappointing, so that meant that I actually had to go out in the wild and find food for myself. But luckily for me, there were just some mobs that decided to hang out at my front door, so I killed them. It was a little harder than I thought, it was a little glitchy, but I still did succeed. After killing these mobs and collecting their XP, I decided I would do some farming because that could also get me some XP because I realized any XP I could get helped. I also found this lapis. It wouldn't really be useful, but it wasn't bad to have. Then, instead of going to bed, I sort of just AFK'd for a while. I'm really not quite sure why. Didn't do anything. I don't even know what I was doing, but I just did. Day 16, I found this cool new village. I thought it would have good stuff because it was so big, but it didn't have anything good, so when I was on my way out, leaving, it did one of these weird glitches again. I was really mad that it was doing this. I really didn't know why. I gotta figure out what's wrong with my game. This time I thought if I placed blocks it would help, but for some strange reason they turned into different types of blocks. I'm not even sure how this could possibly happen, so then I just left the game and came back, and everything was all better. Then decided I would get out of that village as quickly as possible in case something else could happen. I also optimized all the other apps on my computer in order to make it run faster and keep it from glitching. Just outside of that village, I found my first dragon. It was a very low tier dragon, but I didn't want to kill it because I knew I wouldn't be able to. And then the weirdest thing happened. I all of a sudden started taking damage. I don't know if it was the dragon or something else, but what I did know is that I was not staying there to figure it out. So I used my one recall potion that I had to get home. Once I was home, the slowness 2 effect just wouldn't go away. It kept on restarting itself. So I'm just going to speed up this part as I try and figure out how to get it off. Eventually, I decided I would take off all my stuff and die, probably from a mob, so that then I could get it back later and the slowness would no longer be there. I would also like to say this spider took way longer than I thought, and I realized that's because I still had my armor on, which was very disappointing because then I had to go and get it. When I respawned, I realized that the slowness was gone. I was really happy that it was finally gone. I got my stuff back, and I killed the spider who had killed me. I kind of let him kill me, and I felt bad that I killed him, but it was worth it. This was mostly because I was able to upgrade my attack, so I was finally able to use my diamond sword. Or a saber. I'll just call it saber for your convenience. I got it out of a chest, and I went off to go and use it. I also made some treats so that if I ever found a flying animal, I would be able to use them. For some strange reason, instead of using my diamond sword, I wanted to go out and use the treats. For some reason, I really wanted to find a pet, so from day 18 to 20, I just waited at the top of this tower. There probably could have been some sort of better way, but in the end, it did work. Because after a lot of waiting, on day 21, I found a pet rock. Yes, it's Rock ROC. I don't know why they have that as a pet's name. But I made sure to get down to it, and it really didn't take that many treats, and it was then my pet rock. I did the thing where it puts him in my inventory so I can summon him at any point. I forgot what that thing is called, but then I summoned him, and I realized that he was already out, and it was pretty hard to get used to him, but eventually I figured it out. I was ready to have an adventure, so I got on my rock and we set off to go anywhere. I was not quite sure where I wanted to go, but I did want to try and go and kill something. I didn't really find anything good. I did find this little castle thing. It didn't have anything in it that I wanted, so I just left it. And then I fell off my rock and got attacked by sirens. I knew I was gonna die, so I sort of just let them kill me. Well, I didn't let them kill me, but I did know I was gonna die. At this point, I decided I would stop counting my own deaths because I knew too many and that I would get bored. So that's why it doesn't have a little number in it of how many deaths I have. I also learned that when your little bubbles get to 0, you don't start taking damage, you immediately drown, which was very useful for later on in case I was ever in the water. I then went to where the sirens were. I put a little block around me so they couldn't pull me, and they eventually came to me, and I just cut them off one by one. I got their shiny scales, which I knew could be useful later on in making good armor. Then I used my summoning staff for the first time. I didn't really understand it, and I didn't really understand what settings I would use, but by the end I did figure it out. Then I put my shiny scales in a chest because I did not want to lose them because I knew they would be very valuable. I also put my other stuff that I didn't want to use adventuring in the chest. I got my compass so I knew where my house was. I wrote it down in my notes and I went off to new places. Days 22 through 28. These days are grouped together because there wasn't really much that happened. I did do a lot of exploring. I attacked another battle tower, got some really good loot from that. Unlike last time, I would actually be able to use the stuff that I got, which I knew would be very helpful, because then it wouldn't just be sitting in a chest useless. I really loved it whenever that thing flew away. It just kept me so satisfied. The chest had very similar stuff in cases of ore, but did also have some ender pearls, which would be helpful later on. I found this thing underwater and I decided to take note of it. Then I found this castle. I didn't really want to go in it. I found this other thing. I don't know why. And then I found this thing, which lagged out my game a lot. Because it made my game lag, I knew that it must have good stuff in it because it was so big, so I went off to adventure over to it. I don't know why it would spawn here. It should probably spawn on the water, which would make more sense, but since it's added on with the mod, I think it kind of messes up the game a little bit. Once I was inside, I got some night vision potions. I never ended up using them, but they would be helpful in case I needed it. When I was at this tower, I also made a diamond pick because I thought it would look cool. I didn't really need it because I wasn't doing much mining, but I did want it. I then went back to the ground, killed these weird looking things that I thought would be deadly because I needed food. And after I'd done that, I went down to the sea level to see if there was anything cool down there. And luckily I went down there because there was a sea serpent. I realized that I had good enough stuff now to fight it. By fight it, I mean let the boys I summon fight it. I wouldn't actually fight on my own because I'd probably die. It could still one-shot me. So I looked up how to use the summoning staff. I used it, and here's the amazing fight. After just a few minutes of fighting, I'd killed my first sea serpent. I was so excited that when I passed by a dragon, decided I would also fight him. This might have been a big mistake, but I decided it anyways because I was feeling good about myself. So time for more battle scenes. Day 30. I'd killed my first dragon. I just had to find his body. I saw him fall, but I still couldn't find where he was. Eventually, I did find him. I think I thought he was sleeping, though. I don't know why I thought he was sleeping. I was getting ready to come up to him with a sneak attack because I really thought he was sleeping. I put out this fire so I wouldn't get hurt, and I really think that he was sleeping and then he died from his own fire. Once I'd realized that he was asleep, I got really excited and started shaking my mouse around. I think I fell out of my chair. I sort of just stared at it for a while. I wanted to get a good thumbnail, but then I realized that it would probably be a bad thumbnail if I wasn't in spectator mode, so I decided I wouldn't use that. I then got these bottles from the nearby sand, and I filled it up with dragon blood, and then I got the dragon's bones. For some reason I thought that the dragon blood was all you needed and that the bones had no use, but I collected them anyways as a keepsake, and luckily I did because later on I learned that you do need them to create weapons. I knew I wasn't even close to a high enough level to use dragon weapons or sea serpent armor yet, so I sort of just explored for a while. Day 31, I found another battle tower. I didn't know they could spawn to sand, but they could. And for some reason this golem had already had me near him, so he wouldn't do the same thing, so I just had to shoot him with a bow until he died. After a while of shooting him, he eventually did die, but because I didn't have too much experience with this game, I didn't know that it would explode right after he died. Day 32, I found my second dragon. Because I defeated the first one so easily, I thought this one would be super easy too, but the first one was at night and he was stuck in water, so I really underestimated this one. He still wasn't that hard, but my rock was killed at one point, which made it a lot more difficult. I ended up deciding I would just run and let my boys kill it. They ended up killing it. It was actually pretty fast. I didn't realize how good the summoning staff was for mid-game until after I defeated this dragon, but once I knew, I'd never give up my summoning staff. And then these two things attacked me. I don't really know why. They were way harder than the dragon was and actually took longer to beat too. But I still did beat them. Day 34. I decided I would set up camp in this little sand village. I didn't realize it would have these death worms in it. I really thought they would be harder to beat or like give me really cool armor. They were one-shotters. They were actually really easy. But they were able to move blocks, which was really cool. Days 35 through 38. I got really hot in the rain, which I didn't even know was possible, so I decided to get in this water so that it would cool down. After that, I went off and decided I had to get some XP so I would be able to use my dragon weapons. In order to do this, I had to leave the desert because there weren't too many mobs spawning there. Day 39. I found another dragon. I decided I would kill it because I think it was the same tier as all the other ones I'd killed. But then there was another dragon, so I realized I would want to kill both of them. I killed the first one, and I was at low health. It was pretty risky, so I decided I wouldn't go and kill the other one. I got home at night. I had slowness the same as last time. I ended up having to do the same thing, but I'm just not going to include that part. I built a little place for my enchanting table and my disenchanting table because I plan to do a little system over the next few days and get the most OP enchantments. Day 40. This is the day that I finally made that dragon bone weapon, and then I turned that dragon bone weapon into like the dragon flame weapon. I'm not quite sure what it's called. I also made Tide Guardian armor because that's the most scales I had. I didn't use my dragon scales because I wanted to make a full set of that later on. Days 41 through 46. I just enchanted and disenchanted. I really just wanted to get the best stuff on all my gear. There wasn't much to it. Day 47. I wanted to go test my gear. I saw this thing, but I knew it would get my device really glitchy, so I decided to go to this instead. I killed the mobs there. I really just had a lot of fun with it. They weren't that strong. I also decided to make some diamond arrows because I had so many diamonds I wouldn't use them for anything else. Then I found this little mine shaft. I thought that this lever here was going to do something dangerous to me, and I feel really sad that it didn't do anything. I actually wanted it to do something because then I would get to see the redstone. Day 48. I found this little boat that I thought would be an easy way to the end, but none of the end portals fit up perfectly. I was really mad at it, but I did get some amazing books, which I ended up going home with and enchanting them later. Also on day 48, I felt like I had enough confidence to go into this thing. I forgot where the spawner for these guys was, so I just stayed up here killing them for a while. And then I remembered where it was. It was in the first level. So I killed them, and then I had a lot of glitching. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. At this point, I knew that I was going to die. I don't know why I didn't see that I had a recall potion, but I just didn't. So I just sat there. This death really upset me because it was pretty far away from my house, and I would have to go back into that glitchy area. When I respawned, I remembered that I had some grave scrolls in a chest somewhere. I got those because I knew that they would be helpful for this. Instead of just getting in and getting out with my stuff, for some reason I decided I still wanted to go raid the whole thing. It was just a really bad idea all in general. I don't think I died again, but I was really close at numerous points. Luckily, I'd gotten smarter than the last time and set up this little trap until the spawners stopped. This also got me a lot of experience, so then I'd be able to use other stuff. Instead of dying this time, I really just got bored. They were pretty easy mobs once I figured out how to fight them. They did have diamond armor, which was really weird. I think it's normal in this game though, but I just left eventually. Day 49. I found more enchanting books in a library. For some reason this one was a curse of binding, but the other ones were really good. So now my inventory was almost completely full of enchanting books, and I was really ready to go back home. But then I realized that there was a dragon nearby, and because of the dragons I'd killed, I thought that I was ready and that it would kill it. So that's exactly what I did. I went off to kill the dragon. It did take a lot longer than I thought, but this time the dragon was flying and there was a bunch of obstacles. This thing did eat this other thing, which really weirded me out, and then it spat out a ball. I was really confused. This time I thought the dragon was dead and he was just sleeping, so I really got to figure out what dead looks like and what sleeping is. Day 50, I found this little underwater thing that had some good enchanting books. Day 51, this was the first day I'd finally beat Siren's first try. Uh, it was really fun. They weren't as hard as I thought, mostly because I had dragon stuff now. Day 52. This time I wanted the drops from this golem, so I decided I would shoot him off the tower and then attack him on the ground. This strategy actually did work. I first, of course, got all the loot because I wanted it. I didn't have enough space in my inventory for most of it, though. Once I'd killed him, I went over to his dead body, and I don't think that I got anything from him. Day 53, I killed another dragon. This one was near my house, and I was pretty mad at him for being near my house, so I didn't really have a purpose in killing him. I went to this sky tower, there was nothing in it, somehow I think I'd already been here, and I realized that I'd done enough adventuring, and I used one of my recall potions to get home. Once I got home, I just unpacked for the rest of the day. Day 54 through 58. I really wanted to make a dragon's eye. I'd killed a dragon now, so I had the main piece. So then I went off to just go do that. I brought an ender chest in case I needed it, and a dragon skull. It took a lot more materials than I thought, and I had to go to the nether. Yay. In RLCraft, the nether is supposed to be really hard, so I was really scared, but all I needed was glowstone, so as long as I got to an easy source, it wouldn't be too hard. There weren't as many mobs as I thought there would be, but I did see some eventually. I just think they hadn't spawned in yet, but I quickly went away right to glowstone. Once I was ready to go back because I'd just gotten enough glowstone and this place was starting to creep me out, mostly because it wasn't at a high enough update, I summoned my rock and he just flew away. I don't know why. So then I ended up dismissing him and it took way too long. So in that time, I sort of just killed mobs. I didn't really have a point in doing it. I was just wasting time until he came back. When I'm sniping the mobs, they're actually very easy to kill. I wasn't able to get any of the drops for them, but I didn't really want that. I just wanted the satisfaction of killing them. There was one mob that was like a floating head, which was really weird looking, but he was pretty easy too. Eventually, I did get my rock back and I made it back to my portal safely, and I got home. Once I got home, I started crafting all of the materials I would need in order to make the dragon's eye. It was a really long process to make it, and I really didn't even know if it was worth it, but it just helped me waste time and it was fun to make. It took a lot more diamond swords than I thought. I didn't know why it would take so many, but it did. And these little weird glow gem things. I don't even know what they're for. Day 59, I crafted the dragon's eye. I didn't know how to use any of its abilities because most of them are like you can turn them on and off, but I did equip it pretty quickly and I was very excited to have it. I spent the rest of the day trying to figure out how to use it. I couldn't figure out how to use the night vision. I think I figured that out in like day 85 or something, but it doesn't come for a while. Because I couldn't figure it out for so long, it really wasn't worth it, but it was just fun to have another babble. Day 60 through 62, I finally decided I wanted to build my own house instead of stealing a villager's house. I decided I would still make it really close to the villagers, but not too close for comfort. I made sure to collect a lot of materials because I wanted to make a pretty big house. I couldn't decide what my idea would be yet, but I knew it would be big. On day 63 to 72, I built the house. I started off with just a little layout, but then I got bigger and bigger, and the end result was pretty good. I ended up deciding to build most of the house underground because if it were underground, then I wouldn't let mobs get in or be able to shoot it with fire. I used a lot of glowstone for the lights because I had so much extra. I don't know why I spent so much time getting glowstone, and I really liked the look of it. Day 73, I went off exploring again. I didn't really know what I was looking for, but I did find this purple stuff, and in the purple stuff was some bookworms, and I wanted to trade with them. Day 74, I came back to the bookworms ready to trade, and that's exactly what I did, until this thing decided to burn them all. It was very upsetting. Day 75, I was really bored, so I decided I would just kill the Ender Dragon. It's not normally something you do when you're really bored, and I was planning on waiting until day 100, but I just couldn't. It was too long to wait. I pretty quickly found the fortress, or the dungeon, I don't know why I don't know the name of it. And I was ready to fight. I got all my ender pearls ready and all my materials. I was ready to go in and fight this thing. I knew that the hardest part would not be fighting it, but would be surviving the other mobs in the end. Day 76 through 78, my eyes started hurting from this purple screen. I don't know why it was purple, but it was. I also started fighting the Ender Dragon. I started on ground level and not on an island away from everything else, which was very creepy, and I had my bow ready. When the chunks loaded in, I was aiming at a wall, and the other chunks still hadn't loaded in. There weren't too many mobs where I'd spawned, but that's because I was in a little cave and they hadn't had time to spawn in yet. Shortly after coming into the end, I got on my rock because I knew it would be the safest path, and I started destroying the end crystals. There were some in like a big giant Enderman thing. It was actually really cool looking, and then I fell and I had to pause the game out of stress. It was just really hard. I went back to game. It actually wasn't as hard as I thought, even though it said it was really hard. I did take a little damage, but because I had multi-shot, I was able to kill most of these mobs pretty quickly, and then I sort of just got XP for a while. Once my pet was feeling better, I destroyed the rest of the end crystals and was ready to take on the dragon. And he knocked me off my rock, again. It was getting kind of annoying. I was thinking of just climbing up on one of the towers and destroying it the normal way, which is mostly what I ended up doing. For most Minecraft videos, this is where the video ends, when you see the title sequence and it's all ending. But not for me. Get away, title sequence, we're still going. Day 79, I mostly took out the stuff from the end of my inventory, and I healed up from this, I think it's a nymph thing. I then found another one of these strange end things. I was really mad they couldn't bring me to the end, but it didn't really have a use. I then found this weird looking castle, and these little buttons. It turns out they had command blocks behind them. I didn't even know they had command blocks in mods, but it does. I just looked at the redstone. I don't know why. Day 80, I was looking for an ice dragon, which I failed at, but I did find another battle tower, which was pretty useful in materials. Soon after that, I went to the ocean and found a pirate ship and this other ship. The pirate ship didn't have anything good in it, but the other ship did have a lot of mobs, which at this point I needed most because I needed more XP. I didn't really need the XP, I just wanted it. Day 81, I fought another dragon. This one was pretty easy because I guess he couldn't see me or something. He didn't even know I was here. Day 82, I came back to his remains and collected his resources. He had a lot of bones and he was a stage 3 rather than the normal stage 2. I passed by this village and I got attacked by these things. Day 83, I got pulled off my rock and sucked in by sirens. They weren't that hard, but then there was like another tower. I didn't really understand it, and it was at the same time really close. It was a lot harder than the other sirens I'd beat, but it still was really easy because I'd multi-shot. Day 84, I found this rock structure and I thought it made me lucky, so I decided to dig near it. As it turns out, I was right. I was very lucky. I found a dragon's lair. I didn't really know how to kill the dragon, so I just went straight on at it. I kind of decided I would make a little hole and attack it, but that didn't really work out for me, as you can see here. Immediately when I fell, I decided I'd drink my recall potion, but for some reason I started drinking it and it just didn't work. I think I might have been on the wrong object. I thought I was on it. And then I was like on the dragon at one point. It was really weird, but I was able to get home. Except that it wasn't my home. Somehow my bed was destroyed. I was really mad at this, but I took the opportunity to go and find more dragon. Day 85, I think a dragon burnt to death. I don't know how a fire dragon could do that, but it did. Sadly for me, this was not the tier of dragon I was looking for. Day 86, I tried to use the same strategy on a different dragon lair, but this time a very different result happened. It just like tunneled up out of the lair. I don't even know how it made this hole, but it did. After that, I chased him up out of his hole and started attacking him from far away. I kept on scooting back so that he couldn't get me, and then eventually I decided I would get my rock and do the same thing. Once on my rock, it was pretty easy and he died pretty quickly. For some reason, I was kind of scared I wouldn't get the drops because the area she fell in didn't spawn in yet, so I don't know why I was scared of that. I ended up getting the drops, and eventually I did get a dragon egg. I was very happy about this. I just stared at the view for the rest of the day. Day 87, I found my way home and made a little hut for my dragon. I probably should have started placing the egg first because I had no idea how long it would take for this process, but it did take a while, so I'm just going to speed through that. Because it took so long, on both days 88 and 89, I just waited. I did get some dragon food so I could level him up immediately and some other dragon stuff, but for a majority of the days, I just waited. And finally, on day 90, my dragon hatched. He was so tiny and cute. I had no idea how he would get so big, and I also didn't really want him that big. I figured out that when he's really little, he can get in my shoulder, and I just thought that was so cute looking, so I had to show this angle. Once I got him off my shoulder, I started feeding him, and I had a lot of food, so I knew I could make it pretty far. Except that I didn't have as much food as I thought. I got another angle, and it looked pretty cool, but he still wasn't as big as I wanted him to be, so I got more food, and on day 91, I fed him even more. I didn't want him to be a tier 5 because that would be too big, so my goal was a tier 4 so I could breed him if he wanted to, so which was not too big but not too small. Day 92, I learned how to fly him. It took the entire day to do this. I don't know why. I decided on day 93 that I would put diamond armor on him. I didn't have enough to completely cover him, but I had a decent amount. I also decided I would name him Bob. I don't really know why, I just decided that. Day 94, Bob and I were trying to figure out what adventure we should go on. We spent the whole day thinking. Day 95 through 99, I tried to kill as many bosses as possible in 4 days. So just sit back and enjoy this part of the video.